Hi everyone. In this video, we are going to discuss Article 4 of UCP 600. Article 4 of UCP 600 focuses on credit versus contracts. This article, along with Article 5, is focused on the autonomy and the independence of letters of credit and how it is need to be treated separately from that of sales contract. Now let's get into the subsections of Article 4. Article 4 has two subsections A and B. In that, the very first subsection A talks about these matters. A credit by its nature is a separate transaction from the sale or other contract on which it may be based. Banks are in no way concerned with or bound by such contract, even if any reference whatsoever is made or included in the credit. Consequently, the undertaking of a bank to honor, to negotiate, or to fulfill any other obligation under the credit is not subject to claims or defenses by the applicant resulting from its relationship with the issuing bank or the beneficiary. A beneficiary can in no case avail itself of the contractual relationship existing between banks or between the applicant and the issuing bank. Now, I'm pretty sure to all of you, the first sentence would be very clear that yes, a credit by its nature is separate from a sales contract. So, it's treated separately. But when you read thereafter, where it says, consequently, an undertaking that a bank gives to honor or to negotiate or to fulfill any obligation of a letter of credit is not defended by the applicant resulting from their relationship with the bank itself or the beneficiary is quite a gray area for many of the students. But let me clarify. Now, this entire section believes on this premise. We do have a sales contract. Yes, this is what the beneficiary and the applicant in their capacity of importer and exporter sign the sales contract initially, where they agreed the quantity, the price, the quality, everything. Now, based on this sales of contract is how the letter of credit is developed. So, in the letter of credit, the terms and conditions all are stipulated or included according to the sales contract that they have signed. But UCP 600 says, look here, letter of credit is a separate transaction. Your sales contract is a separate transaction. Maybe you based your LC depending on your sales contract. But if there is any discrepancy, if there is any errors or discrepant issues in your sales contract, that cannot harm the letter of credit. In the capacity of the applicant, moment they mention that these are the terms that need to be included in the letter of credit and the issuing bank issues the LC in accordance with that, the issuing bank is bound, is mandated to honor a compliant presentation that is sent to them as long as it's in line with the letter of credit. It can deviate from the sales contract and the applicant cannot do anything about it or cannot take any action on the beneficiary or on the issuing bank as long as those documents are in line with the LC itself. That's the entire premise. Now, for example, think about this scenario. There is an importer and exporter. They agree to bring down some vehicles. Let's say a local party is bringing down Japanese vehicles. They sign the sales contract and based on that, they develop the LC, the terms and condition, and now the local party is requesting the local bank to issue the letter of credit. So, according to the request, letter of credit is issued. The Japanese company ships the vehicles and prepares all the documents in line with the LC, and now they send across to the local bank. Local bank, what will they do? They will verify the documents whether they are in line with the sales contract or the letter of credit. No, they will only focus on the letter of credit. Sales contract is not their scope. It is the letter of credit that they are going to compare it against with. They are going to see whether it's a complying presentation by looking at the LC, not at the sales contract. That's why they say that the banks are in no way bound by the sales contract. They are only bound by the LC. As long as it's a compliant presentation, this local bank can release the document and make the payment as agreed to the beneficiary. Now, imagine after the documents are released, the applicant goes to clear the goods, and on clearing, he sees that okay, the brake system are not the brake systems that he expected. So there is an error there, and now he's trying to sue the bank. Why did you honor the LC when the sales contract says the brake system should be from this particular entity or from this particular supply? Now, if that is clearly not mentioned in the LC request and that is not clearly mentioned in the LC itself, the issuing bank is not bound by it. That's why here it says the bank is not bound by the claims or defenses made by the applicant as a result of the relationship they have with the beneficiary or with the issuing bank itself. All the banks worry about is whether the documents presented are in line with the LC that they have sent out. If it is so, they will accept it and honor it, and the applicant is bound to repay the issuing bank. Similarly, even for the beneficiary cannot make him or herself a benefited party from any of the relationship that is existing between the applicant and the issuing bank or between the issuing bank and any other bank. A beneficiary is only benefited through the LC through that guaranteed payment. There is no any other way to avail a benefit from the beneficiary point of view. Now, section B talks about an issuing bank should discourage any attempt by the applicant to include as an integral part of the credit copies of the underlying contract, performer invoice, and the like. Now here they say, look here, we said that letter of credit is separate from the sales contract, yes. And if your customer, if the applicant is trying to make the sales contract an integral part of the credit by adding copies of the contract to the letter of credit, no, the bank has all the rights to discourage the applicant from doing so. Why? Letter of credit is separate from the sales contract. The issuing bank in no ways is bound or is agreeable to act according to the sales contract. The only two parties who are agreeable or who has to act according to the sales contract is the importer and the exporter. Nothing to do with the issuing bank. So this is the focus point of Article 4, credit versus contract. I hope it was helpful for you. In our next video, we'll discuss about Article 5 of UCP 600. Thank you so much for listening in. Subscribe to Learning Business for more videos.